Good evening. Let me sort this out so you can see me. I'm hoping you can see me. I know a message has just gone out to you. Finally, I think, fingers crossed, I may have finally figured out the technology to be able to notify you when I'm going live, because so many of you subscribe to our messenger bot to get updates about when I'm going live, and I just could not get it to work. So fingers crossed, some of you will be able to hop on live with me now, because we had such an amazing day in our boot camp. If you have not yet completed day one task, do not worry, but as soon as you can, get on, follow the link in the emails or follow the links in the group so that you can experience the gorgeousness of the meditation that went out as part of day one task. Let me know as you jump on who is with me, who is feeling excited, who did this morning's bootcamp task. I felt really connected and really excited as I was guiding you on that meditation. I'd written obviously a couple of notes, but other than that, it was completely intuitive. What I find really quite special about this kind of work is that there are so many coincidences, so many, well, you can call them coincidences, but actually, it's all about divine timing. It's all about being in the right place at the right time, and all of our collective energies merging together. And the reason why I say that is because, hello, everyone who's joining me. This is exciting. Please let me know who is with me. Let me know. Hi, Harry. It was sent to you. Fabulous. It works. Someone's saying good evening. Let me know who you are if you can. That'd be awesome. So, a reason why I'm talking about everything just lining up and there being flow and ease and grace in all of this stuff is that the collective energies, everybody that I've spoken to within this community and outside of that as well, has been talking about this sense of having this inner guide, this intuition, this gut instinct, and how we can use it and how we can work with it. And my mentors have been talking to me about that as well. And I felt really called today to pull a card for this group and for those of you that hear this message in some other way. Maybe it's passed on by someone who's part of this challenge, someone who's watching this live now, to somebody else. But I pulled this beautiful card. I don't know if you can see that, but I pulled the card of the wolf when I was prepping for today's live. And I always think whatever I'm experiencing, I'm tuning into your energy as well. So this message, if you're on this live, is also for you alongside myself. And I don't know if you can see what it says there. It's a beautiful card, but it says, be independent, but work together. And what that actually means is turn inwards. Seek that guidance, seek that wisdom, seek that knowledge from yourself first. You know, in today's society, we are always looking outside of ourselves. We're always looking for, are we keeping up with the Joneses? Are we doing the right thing? Trying to keep up with expectations, trying to keep up with these definitions and these roles that society and our culture places upon us. And we forget to turn inwards. And doing that meditation this morning was all around you connecting in with that wisdom that you hold within, your inner compass, your inner warrior, your inner guru, if you like, that holds all the answers, that is specific for you. Nobody else knows you like your soul. No one else knows you like your higher self. And that wisdom is always there and available to us at any point. It's like a little rucksack you can carry on your back. You can dip in and out whenever you need to. But what else is really amazing about this card is that it also speaks of being independent, turning within, using your intuition, using your higher self, connecting in with that and that energy and drawing that into the present, using that wisdom that resides within, but also work together, find community. This work, this type of spiritual work, sharing meditation, sharing breathwork, whatever it is that you share with people or intend to do so, you are not meant to walk that path alone. And what this card says to me is that we're in exactly the right place. So we've learned this morning about how to be more independent, how to use our gut intuition, how to work with our higher self, but we've also come together as a community to support each other. So just take this as a sign that you're in exactly the right place, doing exactly the right thing. And this card also speaks around you having a message to share with the world. I thought that's what was so beautiful about it as well, is that when you are able to trust your intuition, when you're able to trust that inner guide, and also gain that support from the community, support from the pack, like-minded people like you will be able to shine so much more brightly. So I don't know if you could see actually, but we've got the light shining from each of the wolves here. I just think it's the most beautiful thing and just so perfect for what we've been doing today. But I want to say hello to you all. So Kelly's excited because we have the cards out, which we do. I don't often have time to do it, but I did feel like that was well worth a share today. Oh my goodness. Harry is saying, I'm feeling fantastic and I am so in tune right now. That's exactly how I wanted you to feel as well. We've got Emma saying it's a beautiful card. Hello, Caroline. Hello, everyone else. I can't see your names, but it's so gorgeous to have so many of you join me live. That is what this is all about, that community alongside building that trust in yourself. So thank you for taking part in the task if you've done it yet. If not, put it on your to-do list because it's so worth the time. So why is this meditation technique specifically so bloody good? It's just so awesome. And my meditation mentors, all Exhale instructors, learn these types of meditation techniques. They get given these kind of scripts when they go out into the world and they can share them with their clients. And the feedback is always the same. And this is why when we are thinking about your big vision for the future, when we're thinking about your big dreams, what we want to be able to do is get out of our heads, get out of our humanness and back into your soul space, back into your heart space. Because if you are trying to create a vision with your humanness, with your brain, then it's going to be really limited by all of those roles, all of the judgments, all of the expectations, all of the need to keep up with the Joneses, all of those layers that I spoke about in the pre-start live yesterday that we put upon ourselves because we're scared of judgment. You know, like we might think that we want something, we might think that intellectually, but actually quite often that desire is coming from the need for acceptance more than anything else. Does that make sense to you? If it does, let me know. If you've ever been in that position where you've thought you've wanted something, you've got it, and then you're actually like, actually, this doesn't feel that great to me at all. It's because it was what your friend wanted, what your partner wanted for you, for example, or more often than not, what your mum and dad or your caregivers wanted for you, or what society deems as the right next step for you. So often in this culture, unfortunately, we feel like we need to keep up, be more, do more, keep up with this imaginary timeline that somebody at some point decided was the right way to live my life, you know. This time I should do this, at that time I should do that. Things like, for example, you know, you go to school and you go to uni and then you get a job and then you settle down and then you get married and then you have kids and all that kind of stuff. And if you ever fall out of sync with that timeline, it's really quite disheartening, you know. Whereas this, and Emma's saying someone's saying yes, had that feeling before, but Emma is also saying total story of my life as well. Like I said, if you've not watched my live that I did last night, it was talking all around this kind of stuff where I was really living from a place of searching for acceptance, searching to be included, searching for connection, rather than living from what felt good for me. I was almost living somebody else's life, the life that I thought I was supposed to live. So this is why it's so important that sometimes when we create from the head, we are limited by all of that stuff. We're limited by our need, our human need. There's nothing wrong with it. It's part of who we are. It's part of our DNA as human beings to seek connection, to seek acceptance, to fear rejection. You know, that's totally normal. And to try and keep up with the Joneses. I mean, that's part of our survival mechanism. You know, don't be the weakest link. Don't, you know, this is survival of the fittest. And part of that in modern day society is about keeping up, being more, being the best, and all of that stuff. Whereas actually what that can sometimes mean is we fall out of alignment with what our soul truly desires, or we totally disown it, or we are so busy and so caught up with what everyone else is doing, we forget to listen, or we can't hear the whisper of our own soul because we are far too busy. We just keep going and keep doing and keep pushing, that we forget to turn inwards. So that meditation in particular was all about you connecting with your heart space rather than your head space. So that vision was created from the heart. And the way that we did that was by connecting in with our soul through our heart space, and we placed intention on the heart space, and we used a beautiful breathwork technique and a beautiful structure for the words and the phrases that I was using to make sure that you were able to access that heart space. I mean, those of you that have trained with Exhale, and those of you that know me at all, will know that I'm absolutely obsessed with heart science, and this is one of the reasons why, you know, the heart has an electromagnetic field which is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. And yet we think, and we try and do all of our thinking from here, when the brain actually exists within the heart. So some of the same neural pathways, the neurons, all of the bits and bobs that are in our brain are in our heart as well. Science has proven that you can learn through the heart, that the heart has a memory, that it stores emotions, that it stores stuff in there. So what this is all about is us tuning into that wisdom, and we've always known that to be true on some level. If you talk about it, people talk often about this sense of just having a feeling, of just knowing, you know, or that gut instinct. All of that is connected to this heart space. And when you ask somebody to say, who are you? They always point here. This is me. This is who I am. We part of the heart. We point at the heart space. We point at the soul space. And it's the same, you know, when you are saying, listen to me, look at me, look at me. It's always here, not here. That's where we want to live with, where we're not limited by our humanness, where we're not limited by society's expectations. So I'm just going to look at what people are saying. Oh, I love this. So Ruth is saying, I totally get this. I'm in a job that I always wanted to do since I was young. I worked so hard to get there, yet now I'm there. I don't feel satisfied at all. Feels like there's something more out there for me. And there absolutely is. And that feeling of like something being missing is something that I absolutely struggled with myself for a really long time. And it was these kind of practices that brought me back into wholeness, that brought me back together and allowed me to let go of that feeling of needing to find something else. But what's really interesting as well is that also that part of you that feels like there's something more out there is that call or that wisdom of your soul that knows that you're meant for more. You know, that bit of that part of us always knows, that voice always exists. But this loud, shouty voice of the brain is usually way more active and way louder than the voice of the soul. So Kelly is saying, yes, Ruth, I'm feeling exactly the same way. She's saying, I'm feeling this too. So you're absolutely not on your own. We sort of go through the motions, we follow the crowd, we do the right thing. And it's only in moments like these where we get quiet, where we actually realize, you know what? Maybe this isn't exactly what I wanted. But what I want to say to you as well is there's nothing wrong with going on that journey. I wouldn't be where I am now had I not had all of those kind of wrong turns and wrong directions. You know, my mum once said to me that it was a bit like being, you know, getting on a bus that had no driver. It was just going round and round, and it was just trying everything, doing everything, being everything, and it still wasn't enough. And that's okay, because all of those experiences have led me to a point where now I have the contrast. I know what I don't want, and I know what I do want. It's took me a long time to get there, but now I know it feels awesome. So hang in there with me. It is a practice. The more that we tune into that wisdom of the heart space, the more we tune into that soul space, the stronger that voice becomes. It's a muscle. That's how I describe it, you know, and using meditation to turn inwards, to pay attention to those subtle signals that your body sends you. Essentially, that's what we do when we meditate. We learn how to get quiet and how to tune into ourselves, because your body will send you so many messages about what's right for you and what isn't. And it'll also give you that opportunity when we transcend, when we alter our state of consciousness, to be able for that wisdom to come through in whatever way it comes through for you. So for some people it's colors, for some people it's words, sometimes it's voices, sometimes it's images. However that wisdom comes through for you, we've got to give it space and time and practice to be able to interpret it and use that information. So that's what that was all about, that specific type of script, the way we structured it, the breathing technique that we use, all came together to allow you to drop into what we call heart coherence. So if you look at it from a very physical, bodily standpoint, so we look at the biology of what's happening within your body during those moments, amazing changes are taking place there at that time as well. So what actually happens when we use that type of meditation technique is that all of our vital systems, so all the stuff that keeps you alive, like your brain, like your heart, like your lungs, they all sync up together. And we know that to be true because when people have practiced that specific meditation technique and we've hooked them up to an ECG, a brain monitor, and we've monitored their heart rate as well, what we find is if you look at all those systems on a graph, just like you would do if you were in hospital and you were hooked up to all the machines and they were looking at how you were doing, what was happening in the body to gauge whether you are, how ill you were, I suppose. What you would see looking at that graph when someone is very poorly is a really dysregulated system and very high and erratic peaks and troughs. And it's just kind of up, down, and then it'll stop for a bit and then it'll be a nice big swoop and then more erratic, up and down, up and down, up and down. But what actually happens when we drop into what we call body coherence through this particular meditation technique, and this is insane, it blows my mind, is that you find that all of those peaks and troughs are all nice and even and coherent. And the brain looks like that. So the brain waves look like that. The heart rate looks like that too. And they all mirror each other. The breathing rate looks like that too. That's called entrainment. All of the vital systems of the body, if you practice that meditation technique where we breathe in and out through the heart, the focus, the attention is on the heart, and if you can feel an elevated emotion at the same time, so in this case it's excitement and joy, but equally it could be gratitude, it could be appreciation. You know, when that happens, we are able to see those physical changes in the body. And what is even more amazing than just that stuff changes is that when we have that happening in the body, and I mean, I could go on for hours, but there's also blood pressure changes, there's also hormonal changes, there's also blood sugar changes. There's so much stuff going on in the body. But what it does, it puts us in our optimal state for well-being. And for those of you that are in this space as well, you're probably interested in healing. It puts you in the optimal state for healing. It's also showing to us a really regulated nervous system, which is an amazing place to be in terms of monitoring your emotions and sort of feeling calm and relaxed no matter what's going on externally. But also it gives you that opportunity to have a really good immune system, you know, for everything to work properly. And what we see, because all of the patterns, those beautiful waves all sync up and all mirror each other, is that each part of your body is talking to each other, just like it is meant to. So we are meant to operate in that beautiful, harmonious state. But there's so much in terms of our environment and stress and the food and inflammation and all that stuff we put inside our bodies and the toxic load and all of that, that throws us out of coherence. You know, and our emotional state can also throw us out of coherence as well. So, like I say, I could go on about that for a very, very long time, but I just want you to know that what you did this morning was not just powerful for your strategy in terms of your business and in terms of you having a really clear direction and getting that clarity in order to be able to move forward. It's also amazing for you physically. So if anybody is interested in learning that kind of stuff, please get in touch with us. Please stay tuned for the next 3 days. Get in touch with the next health instructor, experience a class, or come to one of my sessions. I'm going to be running a masterclass next next Wednesday, and that will have an exhale meditation within it. All of this stuff, I think it was Deborah is asking, is this covered on the training? It absolutely 100% is. It's a really big part of what we offer. And I think this is what really makes us stand out in terms of what else is out there as well. You also get to do what we call heart space workshop with your clients. So not only do you understand and use this information, you're able to share it with them in a really down to earth, just like I've done there, really, obviously with a little bit more depth. But you're really able to share that with your clients, because imagine if you knew this knowledge, and we teach kids from age 2. Imagine. We can not only elevate our state so we feel better emotionally, but we can elevate our physical state as well. And I think Emma is saying the same thing. There's a whole workshop dedicated to it and the science behind it, just as well as throughout the training. But and just to keep on track, I get dead excited when I think about our training as well, because I don't know if you've noticed, but in the group, so many of our instructors, whether it be on this challenge or in days moving up towards this event, have been talking about how the training's absolutely changed their life. This, even if you just come to this boot camp day 1, having that vision, hearing that whisper of your soul, feeling connected to your soul, my job is done. That just excites me so much, that is what's available to you right now in these moments. So I've written some notes to keep me on track. So, because I promise the boyfriend I won't be on all night. I do like to talk. So I'm going to try and have a look at my notes now. So what I wanted to talk to you about really quickly was, again, like the fact that it's so important to get out of your head and into your heart space and work with your soul when you are thinking about who you could become and what you want your business to look like and what you want your life to look like moving forwards. We need to get really excited about the limitless potential, the limitless opportunities that are available to you, your limitless capability. If you are here in this space, you've obviously at some point heard the call to stand up, to speak your truth, to share these spiritual tools that have hopefully and most probably been really transformational for you. So if you're in this space now, you're in exactly the right space. What you can do to bolster your confidence is keep reconnecting to your soul, keep reconnecting with those, using the techniques that I've spoke you through or talked you through in the meditation. Even if you play that one over and over again, whatever you need to do to keep getting in touch with your connection to source or to spirit, because we always have that ability to connect. But as we get older and life gets busy and we stop believing in things, the intangible, the stuff that we can't see. Our society is built around us learning stuff that is concrete, that can be proven, that I can see in front of me, that I can see with my eyes, and that's all great, and I love all of that stuff. But there's also that part of us that does trust and understand. I don't want to call it magic, because it's not. It's a beautiful part of who we are. And what's really amazing is that science these days is able to now record that sense of intuition. We're still making sense of it, but it's coming through now. We now have the science available to be able to prove that your heart rate can influence the person sat next to you. We know that to be true, don't we? Because when we walk into a room, you can feel if 2 people have been arguing, say, and that's because there's information transmitted from your heart to anybody that you're within 3 feet of, and there is evidence actually which shows that goes way beyond that. If you're in a bonded pair, so if you parents a child or partners or whatever it is, someone you've got a special bond with, that wisdom of your heart can travel much further than the 3 feet that we've actually got physical proof for. But what travels on that information is information about your emotional state, how you're feeling, and that is translated by the brain. It doesn't come through as Charlotte is feeling happy. It comes through as Charlotte's got an erratic heart rate right now. She's a little bit dysregulated in her nervous system. That comes through, and the brain can interpret that and understand, and the other person's heart can understand that in terms of emotional stuff. It knows how you're feeling. You know, when you just know somebody feels down, you know when someone's angry, you know when someone's upset. No words have been said, but you can feel it. That is why we now have the technology to be able to see that happening. And I won't go off on a tangent, I promise. But what you are able to do is you are able to, that person, if you're bonded with them, they will match. And even if you're not bonded with them, actually, but it's just much stronger if you are. And that's why you're more affected by your friends and your family than you are with anybody else. But you know, your heart rate can influence their heart rate. So if you know that they're upset, if you can get yourself into a regulated state with a nice, beautiful, rhythmic heart rate, they will also be able to reach that state as well. And what a gift to be able to give people. But more than that, what I wanted to talk about really, before I went off on a tangent, that was when we are younger, we believe in magic, we believe in miracles, we believe in that sense of there being something more than just you or I, something bigger than just you or I. And as we get older, like I say, you know, that need to prove stuff, that need to have it tangible kind of drills out of us. So what I really want to encourage you to do is to get back in touch with that belief that there is more out there, because that really holds you in that space that you are loved and you are supported. The truth I know about life is that there are people that have gone before you and there are people that are in front of you and they walk alongside you. You know, the truth is, if you, and this is a quote from A Course in Miracles, if you really knew who walked alongside you, fear would be impossible. You are loved, you are supported, and you literally can't get this wrong. And what's really beautiful about sharing the gift of meditation, it doesn't necessarily have to be this particular gift of meditation, this particular type of meditation, even though it is pretty awesome. It's about you sharing the gift of almost touching that sense of magic, touching that sense of otherworldly stuff, touching that wisdom, touching spirit, touching source. You know, I describe meditation when we transcend, you know, it feels like touching heaven. If you've ever meditated, which I'm hoping most of you in this group have done, you will know what I mean. There's something that's like really difficult to put into words, to put into our humanness. But if you've meditated and you've been in that really deep, relaxed state, you will absolutely understand what I mean. And what we need to do is give ourselves that opportunity to reconnect in with that magic, to give ourselves permission to dream big, to give ourselves permission to live from that space of that fullest expression of your soul, of who you really are, where you understand and you know that you have limitless potential, limitless opportunities, limitless capabilities. You can literally do what, if you can imagine it, you can become it. So I've talked about the fact that we also want to really look into how we are treating our bodies. I touched on that really briefly, and talk about the fact that what we really need to be doing when we're setting goals for ourselves. One of the biggest reasons why we don't set big enough goals, or we back out of goals, or we find it really difficult to travel towards our goals, is because our nervous system is dysregulated and we are in survival mode, we're in stress mode, we're in fight or flight mode. And when that happens, our brain patterns change, and we know that how we are talking to ourselves, the thought patterns that we have, the brain waves that we have a direct impact on our ability to take action, because it impacts how we feel, which impacts our motivation level, and it also impacts how we feel about the amount of action that we're taking or not. So it's really important that you take time to regulate your nervous system before you set your goals, but also when you set the goals, so that you're then able to keep that sense of belief, keep that connection to soul, keep that state where you're relaxed, but you're focused. You feel calm and in control. Because as soon as I drop into fight or flight, as soon as I become stressed, my thought patterns change so much that I'm now really risk adverse. I'm feeling really negative. You know, part of the brain's job when it's in fight or flight is to help you survive. In fact, that's its only job, is to help you survive. And part of it doing that job, keeping you alive, keeping you, fulfilling that survival mechanism, is it predicting all these worst case scenarios. So if you're like me, for a lot of my life, I was pretty much a catastrophizer, and I really do have the potential to go there. My system is quite sensitive in that way. Like instantly, I'm thinking of all these worst case scenarios. What if that happened? If I do that, if I take that action, this will happen, all that kind of stuff. What is really important is to be able to drop out of that fight or flight so that you have a much more positive view. Because as soon as we're in fight or flight, part of your brain's job is to keep you safe. In order to keep you safe, it needs to know what could go wrong, right? It needs to be thinking about all the different things that could be thrown up in front of you so that it can plan for it, so that it can respond to it really quickly. So it's really normal and natural. You set the goals and you're in the soul space. You go back into everyday life, you get stressed, you're back in your head space. Your head doesn't believe what your soul believes. This knows the truth. This is the human bit. This is the bit that doesn't believe in magic anymore. This is the bit that is, has had bad experiences. We come to this earth with only two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Everything else we create for ourselves through our lived experience. So you're fighting against that. It's got all these ideas of what might happen because of what went on before. So what we want to do is keep checking back into the heart through that meditation practice. It will also regulate your system, as I've said for you already. That will change your thought processes so that you're feeling more positive about the opportunities that lie ahead of you, your capabilities, your full potential, and you are able and willing to take action steps towards where you want to be. Sometimes it takes us ages, sometimes they're only baby steps, but we can get there in the end. So this is what's really important about what we've done today. This is not just about us getting all airy-fairy and coming up with this big vision. This is about you understanding that there's wisdom here and there's a lot of fear up here, and we need to work more with this. Okay, but you need to get out of your head. The best way to get out of your head is to regulate your nervous system through the breath, through meditation, or just doing that meditation that I took you through this morning. So hopefully this is making sense. I just want to have a look at, I go off on these big tangents, I want to look at the comments. So Harry is saying they get colours that I need to work on when I meditate. Perfect, yes. So Harry has chakra colours come forwards for what they need to work on, and I'm so excited. I love that information coming through. Then you need to have a look at that and see which of the colours correspond to which chakras and where you need to do some energy work maybe, or where you need to lean more into a certain state of being, you can also nourish your chakras through food as well, which is amazing. Kelly is saying, I love A Course in Miracles. Absolutely, so do I. Anyone who follows Wayne Dyer or Gabrielle Bernstein, all of their messages, all of their talks, they're all based on the wisdom that came through in the text, A Course in Miracles. They say with A Course in Miracles, it finds you when you're ready for it. It's a really difficult text to read, but there are quite a lot of options where you kind of have a guidebook to go with it. Anybody wants help with that and is interested in learning about Course in Miracles, please do post in the group and I'll pop some links where you can get some really good books to support that journey, because it's a big one, but it comes to you when you're ready. So what's happening here? So Jenny is saying, wow, not heard it described like this before. Been working on my own self-regulation to help support my autistic son who has problems regulating his emotions. Exactly. This is why this is so powerful, because we now have that awareness and that knowledge that if we can hold ourselves and nourish ourselves, support ourselves to the point where we are, and we can learn to the point where we are able to quickly and easily regulate ourselves emotionally and physically, you can then share that with anyone who's around you. It's just practice, and I just think that's so beautiful. Like, to me, to read stuff like that really brings it home why this stuff is so important. Kelly is saying, yes, nervous system issues, it's my biggest issue, impacts your whole life. It absolutely does. And this for me has been so life-changing, just understanding. I've always been spiritual, as I've said. I hid that side for so long. Then I went off and went crazy in Ibiza. If you don't know what I'm on about, watch my live from yesterday, it'll all make sense. But one of the things that's come forward for me more recently, always loved the spiritual side of meditation, but it's the science that I'm obsessed with right now. And it's learning about the nervous system, learning about how we are able to control that. And actually, what it's given me as well is an understanding that's led me to be able to accept my humanness on a much deeper level. So what I really understand to be true now is that it's not my fault. It's not my fault if I am, if I am feeling really stressed. It's that my nervous system is trying to keep me safe. My nervous system has gone into overdrive or whatever it is. I think understanding the science has allowed me to have that much deeper sense of self-acceptance. It's allowed me to kind of observe what's happening within me, and understanding the physicality of it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit. So I don't need to beat myself up quite so much. Does that make sense to you, Kelly? Let me know. Harry is saying, helped me so much with my anxiety, took me out of fight or flight mode to come up with fantastic ideas and activate my true goals. Exactly. That's something that I've not said as well, is that when we are really regulated, and that meditation took you into a really regulated space, you are much more creative. You're able to think outside the box because of the brainwave changes that happen as a result of the physical changes in the body. So Kelly is saying, yes, I'm learning. I've lived my whole life in freeze mode. Absolutely. So many of us have. It's madness, isn't it, when you think about it? And we teach this, as I say, to children from age 2. And I just think what a gift for them to grow up understanding this, understanding that there is stuff that we can do physically and emotionally to impact how we feel in any given moment. And Kelly's saying it does really make sense. Learning it's not your fault. You're just a human being, and our bodies work in such a way that actually it should be celebrated. A lot of what's going on in terms of our thought processes, a lot of what's going on with our bodies is an attempt to keep us safe. And it's like the welcoming in of that allows you to witness yourself without all the criticism, without all the judgment, without all the expectation. And what's really amazing as well is that meditation also does that for you, allows you to witness your thought patterns as an observer rather than getting lost down that rabbit hole and using is another stick to beat yourself up with, which I did for a while as well. Right, so I think I hopefully have got across to you just how powerful what you did this morning was. But I also wanted to answer some of the questions that have come up as well. So if you have posted in the group, absolutely, I'm going to try and get to you. If I don't get to you today, I'm going to get to you tomorrow, or I might have to write you a post or something, but we'll get there. So what I really wanted to talk about was there was a couple of people that have messaged me in the group and said, do you know what, I expected to see blah and I didn't see that. Is that okay? And I think it's really important to remember and understand that meditation gives us what we need, not necessarily what we want. And it's about just surrendering to the process, letting go of all expectation, and being open to receiving information that maybe we haven't received before. Being able, I think what's really important when you're thinking about meditation, this is something that we share with our clients a lot, is that it's important to take your hands off the steering wheel. Because if I'm going into meditation with a very fixed, desired, clear outcome in my head when I sit down, I'm like, this is what I want to happen in my meditation. So it could be that I want to see a specific thing, or that I want to experience a specific feeling, or I want to see my colors, like Harry was talking about their colors or whatever it was before. It was about their chakras, wasn't it, coming forwards, and that wisdom coming forwards. When we enter meditation, when we sit down to meditate with that very clear condition, and we concentrate really like we're full on, like in the zone, your hands are on the steering wheel, a bit white knuckle, like imagine you're on the motorway. This is the analogy I use. It's that level of concentration where you need when the motorway is totally full, you're in a really crappy car, and the rain is coming down and your windscreen wipers are going like this, and you're like, oh my god, I cannot see, so I'm just going to grip onto the steering wheel like this. That's kind of the level of concentration some people have when they're going into meditation. That's like what you're telling your brain to do, to cling on to this desired outcome. And what you're actually doing when that happens is you're not allowing your brain waves and your consciousness to shift. You're keeping yourself stuck in beta brainwave when you have a fixed outcome, when you have a desired outcome, when you want to feel a certain way or do a certain or experience a certain thing. You are very much in beta brainwave. And the whole point of meditation is to move from beta into alpha, for example. That's usually the journey that we go on, from beta, which is our thinking, doing, very prefrontal cortex, very logical, very analytical, very very present moment, just like zoned in, focused. Sometimes you can go even further and you can go into kind of like more gamma, which is absolutely laser focus. But what we really want to do to really connect with the soul, to really have all this kind of like wisdom come through, is allow ourselves the freedom to just move through those brainwave patterns into alpha, which is that relaxed kind of dreamlike state, and then into theta, which is a much deeper transcendental sort of state of meditation. It's all about the letting go. So I really want you, every time you sit down, to let go of any kind of expectation, because otherwise you're keeping yourself stuck in that beta mode. We want to move and move freely and fluidly in between all of the different states of consciousness. That's essentially what meditation is. It's that ability to be able to, or the opportunity rather than ability, because it takes no effort. It's the opportunity to move through different states of consciousness. That's the first thing I wanted to say. And another quote from A Course in Miracles is, "In my defenselessness, my safety lies." And how on earth does that relate to what I've just said? Well, essentially, a lot of our expectations come from this need to get it right, to keep up with the Joneses, to have the same experience again, because that means X, Y, or Z to me, for example. It's all about protection, essentially. We've put up these defenses so that we don't get disappointed, so that we're always good enough, all that. So we're seen to be doing the right thing, and sometimes that's not a conscious thing, it's coming through on a subconscious level. So in order to rest in the safety of your soul and just experience that beautiful sense of effortless meditation, we need to let go of the defenses, let go of all of the framework which tells you you're doing it right, because you cannot get meditation wrong. Let me know if you've ever been told that there is a set way to meditate, that there is a set experience that you should have, and maybe some sort of spiritual teacher of some one form or another, or a friend or a family member has said, do this meditation because it'll feel like this and this will happen for you. Like, I think it's really easy to slip into that, and I get excited about stuff and I'm like, this will happen for you as well. But actually the truth is that meditation gives you what you need, not necessarily what you want. And we need to just put down everyone else's experience and just tune into our own. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Let go of the need to get it right. Let go of that defense mechanism and just be. Let me know if that makes sense. Kelly is saying, that's one of my favorite and most impactful quotes from A Course in Miracles. Use it so much. Me too. I use that a lot in our training. We talk about how, to really allow people to relax, we need to teach them to put down their defenses. And we spend a lot of time in our training courses and our workshops teaching our instructors how to help and walk alongside people as they put down their defenses, put down all those behaviors that restrict and confine and hide and alter and adapt our true experience and our true nature. By design, we are, as human beings, we want to control our experience. And again, that's a protection mechanism as well, isn't it? It makes total sense. My brain, my humanness needs to know what's coming next in order for me to feel safe within it. So if that resonates with you as well, I am pretty much a control freak. One of the things that I struggle with most is delegating, letting other people take the wheel a little bit. But meditation is allowing me to do that. The more I meditate, the more I get in touch with my soul, it reminds me to just let go of the need to control these experiences. It reminds me that we're always okay. I've got this place within me that I can return to that's going to calm and settle my nervous system and allow me to feel loved and supported no matter what. Okay, so what else I want to say about it? What other questions? Some people asking me, what does XYZ mean in my meditation? Is it a bit weird that so-and-so turned up in my meditation, that this symbol came through, or whatever it is? Just remember that your soul will speak to you in ways that you understand. My job as a meditation mentor and any other meditation guides, Excel instructors, whoever they are, it's not their job to define your experience. Remember that my only job as a meditation mentor is to walk alongside you on your journey, to help support you and help you to feel safe enough to explore that for yourself, and to remind you that this is your experience. We always have the answers within, always. And sometimes it's just that we need to keep turning back in so that we can turn that volume up of that inner wisdom a little bit louder. But for the most part, it will talk to you in ways that only you understand. So it's like looking at, what did I see? What could that mean to me? What does that represent for me? What else did I want to talk to you about? I wanted to talk about the need to concentrate. I've covered that already. Absolutely human nature for your mind to wander during meditation, so you don't need to try to control it. You're never going to stop your mind wandering. You know, that's a really big myth around meditation. Your only job in meditation is to notice when your mind has wandered, because inevitably it will. And when we try to keep our minds on too tight a leash, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, it's one of those things, like if I say to you, don't think about pink elephants, all you can think about is pink elephants. So the best thing that you can do is allow your mind the freedom to wander. That also gives your mind the opportunity to transcend and move through these different states of consciousness. Like I said to you before, if you are too focused, too strict with yourself, really trying hard to not think and not let your mind wander, you're going to be stuck in beta. And what we want to allow you to do is understand that thought is part of the process. It's part of you being a human being. When I meditate, my mind wanders. You know, but hopefully by now I'm really good at being able to notice when I've wandered, sometimes better than other, and I come back to the instructor's voice, to the guided script, or to my self-led, my mantra, or my sound that I'm using, my settling sound that I'm using to meditate with. What else did I want to talk about? How can we use this information? So whatever came through for you in terms of looking at your higher selves, body language, the type of clothes they were wearing, maybe the makeup that they had on or didn't, the environment they were in, the energy that they came forwards with, the language that they used, the words that they used. How can you use that to help you move forward with confidence towards your journey, towards your desired destination? You can use that information to help pull some tangible real world stuff. So how do I want to word that? To bring some of your higher self into your 3D reality. So that might be a little bit out there for some people, but what I want you to think about is, you know, your higher self probably had a certain energy about it. It probably stood in a certain way. It probably moved in a certain way, used certain languages, certain words and phrases, I mean. I want you to try and step into that as often as you can. That will strengthen your connection. I sometimes wake up in the morning and think, what would my higher self wear? What would they say? What would they do? And one of the really practical ways I use this knowledge is, if I'm ever stuck with something, I ask myself, what would my higher self do? It's really helpful to give that person a name as well. I have done meditations in the past where you're able to get a name or be given a name, or it is revealed to you what your higher self's name is. I haven't got time to do it with you today, but maybe at some point in the future. And you can then refer to that person in the first person. And it's really quite exciting that it's much easier. It's like having a conversation with somebody that you know, gives them a personality. And at any given point, if you're ever confused, what would Beyonce do, for example? And just try and embody your higher self, because that, you know, like in all that you do. And what we mean by embodiment is, you know, try and move like that person, try and live like that person, try and behave like that person. Bring some of that energy that exists, it's all around you, but make it more tangible. Bring it into your 3D experience, your human everyday experience. So somebody else asked, and I can't remember who, but it was a really good question, asked about how do you get to the point where you feel comfortable investing in training, for example, and finding the money to set up your services? Like, how do you get to that point? I think it's, for a lot of people, it's in an inevitability. You know, you're feeling the call to share spiritual practice. That voice is not going to go away. You know, soul's going to keep on nudging, keep on speaking to you and pushing you and moving you towards it. And you know, there's all of these kind of divine timing at play as well, and you'll find that there are coincidences. You know, you just are looking for something. The amount of times that people have said as Excel instructors, for example, and we could be talking about any kind of spiritual training, but Excel instructors have said to me, you know, I was looking for something and nothing's felt quite right, and then suddenly there you were, you just popped up into my awareness. You know, the universe gives you what you're ready for. The universe is always there. You know, the soul is always speaking to you and supporting you and guiding you towards your big mission. I'm going to talk more about your mission tomorrow, so don't let me go off on that tangent because I'm saving that for tomorrow. But just know that nudge is probably never going to go away until you act upon it. But it's really important that you feel like the person or the community that is training you resonate with them. Usually I invest with people that have had a similar journey to me. There'll be something in the way that they show up, there'll be something in their energy, there'll be something in their journey that really speaks to me, that I can relate to. Because, and I think I talk about this maybe on day 2, tomorrow's task, which is, you know, it's quite an in-depth little training you're getting tomorrow morning. But I think I touch on this idea around the fact that I, as a learner, as a student, as a mentee, for example, if you're looking for working with a mentor, I need to see myself in them. In order for me to take action, in order for me to transform, I need to know that it's possible for me. And we definitely talk about this on day 3, but I need to have proof that it's possible. I need to be able to look at that person and go, they are just like me. They're a little bit further along down that journey. In order for me to truly take action, I need to believe that it's possible for me. So what I want you to look for in terms of a trainer, in terms of a mentor, when you're going to invest real money, make sure that person is showing you and is an example of just what is possible for you. Make sure there are parts of you in that person, and it might be in their energy, it might be their language, it might be a part of their journey that they talk about, how they ended up where they are, why they do it. There'll be something within that that really resonates with you. And I know when I found that right person, because there'll be like this shift within me where I'm like, oh my gosh, that person's just like me. And it'd be just something they say, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now. So please, please, please only invest in a training that absolutely feels right to you. Harry is saying, I just know it's right. The fear will always be there. You have to push through it. And I had the sign at the right time in the right place. Exactly. It's those kind of like that divine timing, that sense of like weird coincidence. I was looking for it and there it came. Emma's saying exactly why I'm here with Exhale, and you just resonated so perfectly. And whenever I think about Emma, I'm usually quite often I'll say to Emma, you'll probably have had this as well, or I'll be on a live going, I know that Emma experienced this too. Me and Emma have had a really similar journey. But you don't have to have like, you know, this carbon copy. There just needs to be something in that person which shows you just what you're capable of, that they've maybe had a very, you know, there's parts of, like I say, parts of their experience, parts of their journey that just remind you of yourself in some way, even if it's not a carbon copy. Just want to see what this one says. Caroline says, totally agree with nudge at the right time. My plan was to be a yoga teacher. It just didn't sit or feel right when I was doing it. I was guided towards meditation, my calling for the benefit of the whole. Oh, that's so beautiful, Caroline. I've loved actually reading some of your work. It's beautiful. Really, really good, really high quality stuff you're putting out there. So just only act if it feels like the right move. The other thing that I want to say, because it's coming forward for me right now, and that's how I roll, is that one of my sort of mantras at the moment is to only reinvest when I have implemented from the last training. So what do I mean by that is I will invest in the training. And it's really important that you know that I still invest in training and mentorship myself. I would never ask anybody to invest in a training if I wasn't also doing the same thing. But I invest in training and then I implement what I've learned before I invest again. Okay, unless it's absolutely the wrong course and it's out of alignment for me, doesn't fit with me anymore, doesn't sit well with me, then I'll probably will just leave it. I'm just a bit like that. Either I'm all in or I'm not in at all. But I really want you to understand that, you know, like train, learn, invest, implement before you invest again. But what I also want to talk to you about is invest in community and continued support. There are loads of meditation courses for those of you that are in this group, and I really want to get across that this is not just a sales exercise. Obviously, at the end of this training on Wednesday, there'll be an opportunity, or towards the end of the week, there'll be an opportunity for you to work with us. There'll be an opportunity for you to train with us. Absolutely, you know, that's my business, and I believe in everyone that I work with, and I know this training is so good because it's my heart and soul has gone into it. But if we're not right for you, don't work with us, but look for something. Invest in something that doesn't just give you the training and leave you high and dry. So many meditation mentors and guides and also yoga teachers have said, I did my training and then I was a bit like, what do I do now? There's no one to go to. And you are supposed to be supported right the way through this journey. You know, you can't expect to do your training and know everything that there is to know about meditation. Part of what makes a meditation mentor and a meditation guide great is not that they've done the training necessarily, it's that they have a commitment to ongoing learning. You don't need to be a guru in order to start your journey. People will come to you at a time that's right for them. So what I find to be true is that your energy attracts the right students for you. As I've already said, you know, the stuff that you'll be talking about that will resonate with certain people and not others. You know, meditation is for everyone, but you're not everyone's teacher. For whatever stage that you're at, you'll find that the people that are attracted and resonated with your message, they'll just be at a point where they're ready to learn what you know now. Nothing more, nothing less. They're ready to learn what you know now. And what sometimes happens is they grow alongside you, or they find and they move on to a mentor that can give them more if they're ready for that. You know, when they're ready to deepen their practice, or if somebody already is at a deeper stage of meditation than you are, maybe as a mentor, that's absolutely fine and perfect. And they will find the right teacher for them too. They'll be drawn to somebody maybe that has had a different type of training, that was able to say, go on silent retreat in Tibet. And I talk about that a lot, you know, like there's this inaccessibility around becoming a meditation teacher that absolutely needs to change, because this world right now in these moments is crying out for people that are able to bring peace, that are able to help people turn inwards, to listen to the wisdom of the soul, to feel their full capabilities, to feel excited and motivated, not just relaxed, to feel alive, to feel in flow, to feel like they want to take action. You know, like quite often people come to me like, I feel like I can take on the world right now. The world needs that. And part of the problem that we have at the moment is that there's this kind of unwritten rule that you need to have done a million different things, have had 1,000 hours of experience before you're able to share this stuff. Yes, you need to have full, proficient, like credible, accredited training. But the only other thing you need on top of that is a commitment to continuous professional development. So to continually learn, to not be afraid to ask questions, and to have the support of a community and a mentor around you. Okay. I love this. Let me just show you this. Harry is saying you're crazy and fantastic at the same time. I love your energy and your vibes. That is a really accurate description of me. I am a bit of a contradiction as well. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because I am really quite like high energy and quite out there. I love being on stage, but put me in a room like full of people, a party, and I am completely different. It's like when I'm on stage, I'm living my purpose, I'm living my mission. That's what I'm all about, and it feels exciting. That's why my energy lifts. And it put me here, my energy is totally lifted. Put me in a room at a party, and I'm like the shyest person. It's totally bizarre. But yeah, and I am crazy. I am also fantastic at the same time. But yes, I love your energy, Harry, as well. I just needed to put that up there because that did make me laugh as it come up. Oh yeah. So Kelly is looking at my chart for me, my astrology chart. She thinks all my Leo. It absolutely is, isn't it? I love that though. If anybody is interested in astrology, please hit Kelly up with a message. She's awesome. So what else did I want to talk about? So only invest in training which has continued level of support. To give you an example, what we offer is really quite different to what is out there, but it must exist somewhere. If Excel isn't for you, please look for this. But we offer business coaching every week, strategy, mentorship, mindset work. We also have like that opportunity to sort of work with me on a much deeper level, but also we have so much wisdom within our community. We have so many platforms and methods of being able to communicate with our instructors, so that if they ever come up against something that they're not experienced with, we talk about it, we create a training about it for them. We're really responsive to what's going on within our community, and that is what's needed, because that way you grow alongside and just a little bit ahead of your clients. We're always anticipating what might be coming next, what do I need to deepen, and what can I share next, and just learning more as you go along, rather than doing the training course and forgetting about it. This is a continuous journey, and this type of spiritual practice was meant to be passed on in this way, where you have someone who sits alongside you that holds that vision for you until you can hold it for yourself, but also somebody that really supports you, practically, and helps you, yes, build confidence, but also improves your knowledge. So don't just invest in a one size fits all course. Make sure that you have that level of community, level of safeguarding for your clients. If you don't know what that is, I haven't got time to talk about it today, but that's about making sure that everybody is emotionally and physically safe in your classes. And like meditation is for the most part a really enjoyable practice, but every now and again it unlocks some quite difficult emotions for people, and you need to be able to understand how to deal with that. So please make sure that your training also covers that as well. The other thing that I would say is, in order to save money in terms of the setup costs, once you've invested, ask people to bring their own things. You don't need to, especially in COVID times, you absolutely do not need to provide mats for people. People are more than willing to bring a yoga mat and a blanket and a pillow. That's what I ask people to bring to my in-person sessions, unless it's at a health club and that's already provided, obviously. Also, you could start with online sessions, so you've got no room hire cost. And you could do, in-person events, then sort of like do your online sessions, and then every month also do something in person to supplement that until you've got a really nice client base, if you want to cut down on costs. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about, because I'm aware that I've been on ages and I'm so grateful of all of your energy and staying with me all this time, but it's getting late. So one of the questions I was going to answer on Wednesday, but I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it today, was how do we sort of get past this feeling of being scared that actually you can access meditation on YouTube for free, for example, or you can just download Headspace or whatever it is. What I really know to be true about meditation is that in order for it to have a big impact on your life, you need to be empowered to use these tools without the need for me to be present, for example, or YouTube to be present, or the app to be present. You know, I am so passionate about our instructors going out there and teaching in such a way that they empower their clients so that they can embody this and use this in the moments when they need it most. They don't need me the most when they are ready for a meditation session, you know, when they've booked it in on a Wednesday night. They need it in those moments where their kid's going crazy or where they're stressed to death at work. You know, they need to be able to use these tools without my presence. So the fact that we have YouTube is great. The fact that we have apps is great, but they don't teach you the skills. They give you a meditation that you can use when you're ready for it, but they're not teaching you skills and delivering it in such a way that you are able to access that in those moments that are really quite challenging. That's what we're all about, and people want to pay for that. The other aspect of that is that people are absolutely craving that time away from technology. And also, interestingly enough, craving time outside of the house. They're craving connection. They're craving that need to sit outside the house in that dedicated space and have a beautiful experience. So what's really gorgeous about Exhale is it's not just us sitting there and reading a script. You know, our meditation instructors do way more than that. Remember that we use breath work, we use mindful movement, we use music, we use aromatherapy to create these beautiful meditation experiences. You know, so do not let yourself worry about the fact that there is all this free stuff out there on the internet, for example. People are willing, more than willing, believe me, to pay for in person or actually through, as long as it's live, that experience. So it's about letting go of, that's just fear, that's just resistance, that's just your humanness trying to keep you safe. You know, the brain is so clever, it comes up with all these excuses and all these reasons why you shouldn't do something when it feels new, when it feels challenging. And we'll talk more about why, you know, that's actually a really good sign that this is part of your calling, as part of your mission, if it feels scary tomorrow. So just bear with me on that one. But the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of that, like, why is it so powerful to actually, you know, sit down and meditate as part of a group, whether that be online or whether that be in person? And it's particularly true in person, I have to say, there's no getting around it. But people are so willing to pay for that experience because of this energy exchange. You know, we were talking right at the start of this live about heart coherence, about how you can influence the breath of somebody else. You can influence the emotional state of somebody else just by being next to them. When you are meditating as a group, that energy is a million times stronger and people can feel it. You can't, you know, like we've just come off the back of an amazing few days at Soul Circus. You know, it's probably more like a month ago. It's getting up for a month ago now, and we're still all raving about it. You know, our tents were absolutely crammed to the rafters full of people, and we were doing our usual classes, but that energy was amplified because all of those people are syncing up their heart rates. Everybody that sat in that room or lying in that room, all of them, all of their bodies, all of their energies, all of their subtle energy layers were all syncing. And if you've ever led group of people, you'll know exactly what I mean. This is absolutely true. You know, when people are breathing and moving together, there's just something that's really magical and beautiful about that experience, and it is an experience like no other. So please believe me, if you can get them to come just once, they will become addicted to this way of meditating. They'll really see the value. So please don't worry about the free apps. There's a place for them, there's also a place for this as well. And I just think more and more and more and more we're seeing that people are craving that experience rather than just pressing play on an app. So hopefully that helped. Oh, and here's the proof as well. So literally addicted, I said. And Deborah's saying she's not ready to let go of Soul Circus. Me neither. You know, I'm already so excited. If you're going, I can't remember if it's you, Deborah, that said you bought your tickets for next year, but we will be there with bells on. Just wait and see what our tent is like next year. It's going to be awesome. And Emma, gorgeous Emma, is saying it's such a beautiful experience, and it absolutely is. It is an absolute pleasure to hold that type of class for people. And remember that your energy is infectious as well. Sales is just an exchange of confidence, you know, ultimately. So the more you fall in love with your classes, the more you fall in love with the process and the experience yourself, more people are going to come to your classes. So please don't let that be a worry. If you enjoy it, they will come. They'll enjoy it too. So yes, so Harry is saying that YouTube, I'm guessing YouTube and apps, it's so not the same. You get the energy vibe in a class, it's letting go and letting the energy flow, exactly, and allowing yourself just to be present with all that is around you, including that gorgeous energy. So I am going to love you and I'm going to leave you, because in my head I was like, I'll be half an hour, and I've been on an hour and 10 minutes, and I promised the children I would go and say goodnight to them before they went to sleep. I mean, I'm hoping that they've actually fallen asleep. There is an adult present upstairs putting them to bed. So Jenny is saying, got my ticket for next year's Soul Circus, glad you're going to have a tent again. Yes, you'd be so welcome to come and join us in there. But that's the proof, you know, you had those experiences in real time and you've booked again a whole year in advance. That's how much you loved it. So please trust me, don't let that be an issue at all. There is a place for all of those things. So I'm going to go. In the morning, you are going to get sent tomorrow's task. It's all about limiting beliefs. It's about 18 minutes long, the video. Find some time tonight, maybe before you go to bed, just to prep for this exercise. If you don't get a chance, it's no big deal. You can do it tomorrow. But I really want you to start thinking about all of the ways in which you limit yourself through your self-talk. When you think about becoming a meditation instructor, what kind of negative thoughts around that come up? Like, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, I'm not guru enough. Start thinking about all of those things, because make it easier for you in the morning. So what we're going to be doing in the morning is looking at your limiting beliefs, having a little go at unpicking those, looking at where they come from. And there'll also be an opportunity to join me for a gorgeous, gorgeous meditation as well. All exhale style, with the breath work, with the movement. I've recorded a little video for you that'll be on there as well. And as usual, I will be on with a live. So tomorrow, the live might have to be in the day, because I am flying solo at bedtime. But if you can't make it because you are, once I put a time in my head, I'll pop it out in the group. If you can't make it, this will be on replay and I will email it to you as well. So as ever, it has been my absolute pleasure to guide you on this journey. Hopefully you've already taken something away. If you have, please share it with me, with one of the instructors in the group, or with your friends and your family. Just as long as that energy keeps moving, keep that momentum going. Share what you know. It's a gift. So that's it. Enjoy, sleep well. It's 21:12. Gorgeous time for me to finish. I love numbers as they come up like that. So I will see you in the group tomorrow.